What's the most powerful aspect of having a side hustle? Or what's the best reason to have a side hustle, to create a side income, to start some business outside of your 9 to 5 job? That's what I wanted to talk about in today's video. And I'd love to hear what yours is. Like, is it the extra money? Is it that it gives you some self confidence, that you're developing new skills? Does it give you a purpose? Does it give you more freedom? Maybe a side hustle is going to enable you to earn some money that you can roll into another business that's kind of a bigger thing, a thing that's going to cost more money, something that potentially maybe could replace your full-time job. Maybe you like your job, but it doesn't quite cover the bills. You're not quite happy with what you're earning, or maybe there's not a ton of opportunity for advancement, and your side hustle is kind of your extra income generator. That's kind of what allows you to live comfortably, or take a vacation, build an emergency fund, put some more money into retirement, whatever it is. To me, the biggest thing about a side hustle is the freedom that it gives you. Freedom and choices is kind of the biggest thing about a side hustle. I mean, there's a ton of benefits to side hustles, right? Like we talked, there's the extra money, there's doing something that you enjoy, having a purpose. There's all types of things. But to me, it's the freedom and the freedom of choice that a side hustle can give you. And then it's kind of assuming that a side hustle is at least bringing in kind of some money. Anytime I meet somebody or talk to somebody and I notice that they're passionate about some subject matter, or there's something that they really enjoy doing, or there's something that they're really good at, my first inclination, and I think I kind of annoy people, is to encourage people to monetize that. A while back, my girlfriend's cousin, like super talented artist, and I was like, "Do you sell your prints? Do you like sell graphic design? Do you do print on demand?" He's like, "No, I just make this shit and hang it in my basement." And I was like, "That's cool," but I'm like, "You could make a lot of money off that." And most people I talk to don't really have an interest in it. Maybe some people, their passion is their passion, and they don't want to mix it with business. Maybe once he starts selling his art prints, it takes the fun out of it. Maybe then it becomes work to him, and that's completely understandable. For some other people, they just don't fancy themselves or think of themselves as a business person. I'm always shocked by like how people don't want to make money off doing something that they love, and I don't want to force anybody to, but it's like, shit, man, you have something that you really enjoy doing. You could make some money off it. Why not do that? Um, but yeah, man, to me, the biggest thing about side hustles has always been the freedom and the choices. One thing I noticed, I started my business as a side hustle outside my 9 to 5 job. And kind of what actually kind of led me to do it was uh, my day job. I enjoyed it. I didn't love it, but I mean, I enjoyed it. I didn't mind doing it. I've had a lot of jobs that I despised. So to have a job that I didn't really mind waking up in the morning and going to, a job that was fairly easy. I never had to really work overtime. I never had to take work home with me. For all those reasons, I liked the job, but the job didn't quite pay enough money, and there wasn't really any advancement. I kind of started thinking for the long term, and I'm like, I like this job. I don't really want to go get another job that I hate, but at the same time, like, I don't think I'm going to be able to like get married and have kids and raise a family with this job. So I knew I had to get something going outside of that job. And whether it was something that just made a little bit of money on the side, or whether it was something that potentially could have grown into a career or a full time job after that, I didn't really necessarily care. I just knew that I had to have something else going. I wanted to have there to be some other, working at that job, there was no possibility of necessarily my life improving. So I wanted to do something, whether that was starting a blog, starting a YouTube channel, starting an eBay business, flipping items, whatever it is. I wanted to have something that was a chance, almost like a lottery ticket, that this thing could pay off and turn into something else. And I think a lot of people have a hard time kind of having that vision, starting something and realizing that it can turn into something else. And to me, that's one of the beauties about side hustles, man, is like, no matter how piddly, tiny, small, whatever you start is, there's a chance that it could blow up. It's amazing to me how many side hustles that I've started that haven't really been worthwhile, or haven't made enough money, or didn't really have a ton of promise, but it was through doing that it spurred me on to some other idea or some other business. And a lot of times that thing was bigger. That thing did make real money. Another thing that I noticed, I talked about when I first started this side hustle, or when I first started my business, it was a side hustle that I was doing outside of my day job. And at some point it started making some, I was check to check at my day job. So any money that it brought in made my life a lot more comfortable. But at some point, it started making some decent money, and it started making money that was like equal to what I was earning at my day job. And I'm a pretty, In some ways, I'm kind of a risk averse person, so I wasn't going to leave. I wasn't making a ton of money, but I wasn't going to leave a $30,000 job uh, to go do a business that was making me $30,000. Right? Like it just didn't really make sense to me. I think I was making three times my salary at my day job on my side hustle in my business before I actually left my business. Like when I started my day job, I think I was making $24,000 a year, really kind of scraping by. The side hustle, the business, it took a couple years to take off. At first, it was beer money. Then it was a couple $100 extra a month. Then it was equal to my salary. I started getting raises at my job, but like it still wasn't great money. I think by the end, I was making I don't know $28,000-$30,000 a year, and my business my side hustle, my business was making about 90 grand, or I was taking 90 grand out of the business a year. And I was still working at the day job. I was making three times my salary at my day job before I was finally comfortable to leave to go full time with my business. And even at that point, I was still a little bit hesitant. My partner actually kind of got pissed at me. He quit his day job before I quit my day job, and he started getting frustrated with me that I wasn't leaving. And to me, I was like, well, shit, man, if I can keep this day job and keep the benefits and keep the consistent paycheck, and even though 30,000 isn't a ton of money, keep that 30,000, and I can have a profitable business and make even more money on the side. Why even leave the day job? I know a lot of people are like very, very rah to leave the day job and have more free time and things like that. But I was like, shit, man, if I can have a day job that I don't mind and have this business going on the side, that would be awesome. I mean, I'm not going to say I never, I think all of us would love to leave the day job and get rid of the boss. And there were times that I was frustrated and tired with my day job. But that's another kind of benefit of the side hustle. Once my side hustle or my business was making enough money that I knew I could comfortably leave my day job, working that day job became all the more tolerable. When I was living check to check, it was stressful. Like if I lose this job, I'm fucked, right? Like even if I go find another job tomorrow, it's going to be 3 weeks, 5 weeks before I get my next paycheck, because of how pay periods and things like that fall. Um, and once I was making so much money at the business that I was like, even if these guys fired me tomorrow, or even if I got sick of things and said, fuck you, I'm out, and walked away, I would be completely fine. That made going to the day job so much more tolerable. Even if my manager, my boss, or even upper management corporate was doing really stupid shit and really annoying me, I was like, whatever, I can I can deal with this. I don't even have to be. If I wanted to say fuck you and leave, I could do it this afternoon, and that made it so much more tolerable working at a day job. And when I do a lot of these Side Hustle Tuesday episodes, that's something that I hear from a lot of these entrepreneurs, and in a lot of these stories, I share that with you guys as well. A lot of these people keep their day jobs, and they're like, you know what, I don't really hate my day job, and having a side hustle and knowing I don't have to be here makes it that much more tolerable. It's almost like, think about when you were a kid and your mom's like, clean your room. And you're like, I'll clean my room, but it's not because you told me to. I'm cleaning my room because I want to clean my room. Like when somebody's not forcing you to do something, when you don't have to do something, it makes it that much more enjoyable. And a lot of times I have people contact me, or I'll even see people posting on Reddit or blogs or forums and things like that. They'll be like, I lost my job. I have to make $5,000 in the next 30 days. And it's hard starting from scratch to get something going and bring money in right away. And most people won't be able to do it. And even if you can do it, you're probably making short-term decisions to bring in money as opposed to the long-term decisions that would actually be best for the long-term health of your business. And when you have a side hustle and it's not something that has to be producing money, you can kind of take the slow road and do the right thing and do the things that are best for the business, as opposed to the things that are going to bring in revenue right now. So for all those reasons, I think having a side hustle is awesome. I feel like it gives you more security. You're not as reliant on your job. Even if your side hustle is only bringing in $500 a month, you can't live on $500 a month. But if you start stocking that $500 a month away, after 6 months, you got $3,000. That's a decent, is that right? 5, 1, 5, 2, 5, 3, yeah. That's a decent little emergency fund. So if something does happen to your job, that $3,000 can probably carry you for a couple months until you find something new, or maybe you decide to double down and start spending more time on that side hustle, and you can turn it into a full-time thing. I think people are in a much better position if they lose their job, if they're fired, if they leave their job, if they already have something existing, if they already have some kind of foundation built, and then can continue to grow that and put more time into it, as opposed to you leave your job or whatever, and now you're I have to have this thing producing a full time income within the next 30 days. So yeah, I mean, to me, a side hustle is all about the freedom and the flexibility that it gives you. And that's like the biggest benefit. And that's why I like to see, that's kind of what this channel is about. I want everyone to, with this kind of that catchphrase right now, live your best life, right? I want all of you. I want to see everybody live their best life. I don't want to see people doing jobs they're unhappy with. I don't want to see people living stressed because of money, because of work, because of, I want everyone to live your best life. And if you're cool with having a job, great. A side hustle can only benefit you. But if you're looking for a way out, if you want to live on your own terms, if you want to be, have more freedom of choices and to be able to live where you want and work when you want and work how you want and work on things that actually give you a sense of purpose and a sense of passion, I think a side hustle is for you. So like I said, anytime I see somebody who has an interest in something, who excels at something, who has a skill in some area, I'm always trying to encourage them to start a side hustle. And most people don't really take me up on it, don't have an interest in it. Like I said, if it's not your thing, cool. But don't think that you can't do it or that you're not a business person or whatever else. The amount of side hustles, the different ways that you can make money these days are crazy. I was talking to well, just to give some like off the wall examples, I think a lot of people don't really think of themselves as a business person. Like, I'm not a business person, or I don't want to have to get a business bank account. I don't want to have to deal with employees. I don't, and a side hustle. I'm huge on entrepreneurship. Quite frankly, I'm not really that interested in managing a payroll and kind of doing all the business tasks. Like when me and my partner had our business, he was kind of more the accounting guy, the HR guy, and I was kind of more the execution guy. Like, I really have no interest, and it's not really within my skill set to do a lot of those things. But a lot of the opportunities we have to make money. I mean, setting up an affiliate site. There are no employees. There is no payroll. You're not having to order any inventory. I mean, that's something that you can make a good amount of money just doing solopreneurship, entrepreneurship. I was talking to the Wandering Marine, who I actually met through Jackknife Finnegan. Shout out to Jackknife Finnegan and Wandering Marine. I know you've been checking out this channel. Maybe you're watching. He was kind of talking about maybe starting a side hustle and e-commerce and some other things. I think he sent me an email. I got to get back to him. But he was looking at e-commerce, and I think a lot of people kind of tend to want to go into areas that they see a lot of other people talking about. And what I was telling him, he was obviously in the Marines. I think he's got a YouTube channel. I was watching one of his videos. He was down in Mexico City eating like a 6 foot long burrito or something like that. But I told him, I said, I think there's a lot of young people who have an interest in joining the military or curious about joining the military, but are either scared or don't know what to expect. I said, why don't you start a YouTube channel where you talk about, a day in the life being in the Marines, what it's like to join, why you joined, what are some reasons that people might join, what is boot camp like, what should you bring to boot camp? Like, these are things that are going to help and benefit people out there. People who are thinking about joining the military, curious about it. Even people who have no interest in joining. I'm sure a lot of people are just curious about these things. I know I've watched YouTube videos and stuff on those subjects. He could start a YouTube channel and monetize that. He could do consulting where, you pay for a 30-minute call with him and you can kind of tell him about yourself, and he can tell you if he thinks you'd be happy in the military, if you're right, if the military is right for you, or it's not. He could put out ebooks. He could put out a digital product. He could create a line of apparel for military people or military wives. I mean, like, for somebody like him, like, should you go into e-commerce, something that you've never done and don't really have any experience with, or should you do something that you know about? And I know most people that I know who have been in the military, they enjoyed their time in there. They're somewhat passionate about it. That's something that you could share with others, something that you already have the knowledge of, and I think you'd be a lot more successful and potentially make a lot more money doing that. And also, there's a lot less people doing that than there are people selling tree hammocks or fire starters. So there's also a lot less competition in that area. And another thing about doing something like that, there's only one wandering Marine out there. There's only one rules for rebels. There's only one person whose brain works like yours works. There's only one person who has your personality. There's only one person who can connect with people in the same way that you can connect with people. And so I think that's one thing that kind of, everybody likes to say everything's saturated. Podcasts are saturated. YouTube's saturated. Gaming channels are saturated. I heard Joe Rogan talking a while back, and he talked about him starting his podcast, and he was telling people, like, if you have a passion for something, if you're interested in something, just get started. Get started where you are with what you have, how you can get started, and just slowly water that every day. Every day after work on that podcast a little bit. Every day after work on that blog, work on that YouTube channel. And as you start doing that, you're going to develop some skills. You're going to start getting more self confident. You're going to start getting around other people who do similar things, and maybe you can kind of partner with them. And before you know it, maybe that's a full time thing. Maybe that's growing into something real big. So I guess that's kind of my little rant for today. Like I said, I'm having kind of a lazy Friday here. I'm sitting here tucked under the blanket working on my forum. I made this video a couple times, so I forget if I mentioned this, but I've worked on this a couple times and I kept fucking it up. And I finally got things pretty much how I want. So what this is going to be, it's going to be kind of a free educational resource. I'm creating some data sheets, which is basically just basic information to help people get started with things like affiliate marketing, real estate investing, blogging, YouTube channels, e-commerce across a number of different platforms. It's also going to be a forum, so kind of a home base where you guys can connect with each other. You guys can form partnerships. You guys can ask questions. All different types of stuff. Basically, just kind of a home base for this Rules for Rebels community. I got a couple things I got to tweak on here, but I'll probably be sharing this with you guys next week, and I would really encourage all of you guys to kind of join and sign up as well. So that's all I got for you guys today. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead, give it a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed to this channel, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button down below. Hope you guys have a great weekend, and I'll catch you on the next one.